All right, so let's see. Right from where we last left off, angle addition postulate. So again, uh, if you just break down the words, each of the meanings for each of those words. So angle, all right, so we're working with angles. Addition, so we're putting them together. And postulate is rule. So rule for adding angles. So here we go. We got D is interior of ABC, right? So it just means it's on the inside. That's what interior means. So if you ever, work, sorry. If you ever work like with interior decoration, that means decorating the inside of a house or like a vehicle's interior, like some people say they have leather interiors, which means that they have leather seats and stuff. So interior just means inside. So this angle is between these two angles is what it's saying. Now, if we have angle ABD, which is following the lines ABD, DBC, DBC. There we go. So that it just means if we put both of those together, the ABD, which I'm going to call the smaller angle, and DBC, which I'm going to call the larger angle, we put them together. It's the same as just going to A to B to C. So just adding them together. So let's maybe if we work a little bit with it, it'll make a lot more sense on what we're doing. Oh, and if I ever have something like I'm not sharing or something's not going down, there you go. Cool. I'm getting some of you guys' emails. I'm gonna have to save those somewhere. All right. I'm also getting some new students too. So if you, let me just go ahead and take care of this really quick. Just you probably won't see that. That's okay. You can also send private messages too if you want to say something or ask a question. Don't be afraid. So use the diagram below to answer questions 1 and 2. So here we have question 1. If the measure of angle ABD is 48 degrees and measure of angle DBC is 78 degrees, then find the measure of ABC. So if we look at the diagram, ABC is the larger one. So it's pretty much this exact one, it looks like. It looks like it's the exact thing from there. Okay, so since it's the exact same thing, that makes it a little bit easier. But it says here that ABD, so that's the smaller one, is 48 degrees, which it looks like it would be right about 48 degrees. And DBC is 78 degrees. If we were to just add those two together, then we would have the total angle for A, B, and C. So this would be 126 degrees. Now, I don't know if I have I think I do have one. No, I don't have one. A protractor. But just like I was saying, I try to bring this up whenever I can, because sometimes a lot of students, they think, well, if I have a protractor, I can just measure it. But sometimes the diagram isn't like 100% accurate, right? The diagram is sometimes just there to give us an idea of what we're looking at. All right, so now it looks like they're going to come up with different numbers. So measure of DBC, so that's this larger angle, is 74 degrees, right? So it's the same diagram, but now it's telling us 74 degrees, which looks like it could be 74 degrees, but again, sometimes they don't always tell you the whole truth. ABC is 119 degrees. Find ABD. So actually, in this case, we're looking for the smaller one. We don't know how much the smaller one is, but we actually do know the total is 119. So this whole thing is 119. So even though it says angle addition postulate, this still means that we can subtract, right? Anything you can add, you can also subtract. So we're going to go ahead and subtract that. We're going to take away 74 from the whole thing, 119, and that's going to leave us with 45 degrees. So again, you can still subtract. All right, it looks like we're going to have a pretty complicated one here. And just in case, I'm going to not scroll all the way down. If PQR, measure is 141 degrees. Let's find each measure. I'm going to scroll down really quick just to see how many we have. And it looks like we actually have quite a bit. All right, we only have about 30 minutes to cover all this. So I'd like to do this. Well, maybe here's what I'll do. I'll try to cover as many of these as I can, but go ahead and get these next two down. I'll cover these next two, and then we'll I'll add in some of these other ones. In fact, actually, I am going to have to kind of switch over. All right, there it is. So 4 and 5, I'll go ahead and just leave those, and you can copy those if you want. But 6 on up, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do those in the on the paper on together, so that way, you know, I mean, copying's okay, it's fine, you know. I'm kind of assuming that you kind of might already know this stuff because it is review. But it's always very helpful to go over it. That way, you know, you can follow the steps, follow the thinking, and think of the things, you know, as you're working the problem out. Because if you think about it, you're going to learn a little bit more than if you were to just be shown what's going on, right? So it's like, well, actually, one new thing I picked up was fishing. I've never fished before in my life, maybe like once or twice as a kid or something like that. But really, I haven't done a whole lot of fishing. And one of the tougher things in fishing is to tie the line. And you got to tie it really good. You can't just use simple knots, because if you do, you know, you're gonna lose your line, lose your bait, lose your lure, whatever you got going on. So you don't want to lose that. So you have to tie it real good. And, you know, I can, the first few times I watched it, I was like, okay, that looks easy, I can do it. Then I tried doing it on my own, and I was like, yeah, that's not really, it's not as easy as it looks. So I had to try it several times before I actually got it. And even now, I don't think I still fully have it. Excuse me. Oi. Oi. All right. Okay, it just goes up to 10. All right, we're gonna get going over this pretty quick or pretty soon. Oops, let me see if I can just put that here. All right, let's go ahead and go over it. So let's just see what we have here. So number 4, measure of angle DEF. So that's DEF, so that's the whole thing, is 7x plus 4. Measure of DEG, so DEG is 5x plus 1. GEF, well, okay, they're going to make it easy on us this time, and they're just going to say 23 degrees. Find the measure of each angle. So we're going to use the addition postulate. So we know that this is the full one, right? DEF is the full angle, both of them put together. And that should equal up to both of the smaller angles put together. So DEG is, well, this one right here, and that's 5x plus 1, 23. And they're just going to use their basic rules of algebra, right? They're just going to combine their like terms, which here it looks like they have 1 and 23, and they put them together for 24. So they took care of the like terms on both sides. Now we have to do some adding and subtracting, but we also have to first find out which side we want the variable to go on. And we want the variable to go on, looks like they're going to pick this side, minusing 5 from both sides, so that way it becomes 7 minus 5 to get 2x. Now, let's get the adding and subtracting out of the way. We want to get rid of this 4, so we're going to minus 4 from both sides. So if we minus 4, this one cancels. 24 minus 4 is 20. And then what number times 2 gives me 20? Well, that's easy. It's 10. So we know X is 10, but that's not really going to help us. We got to find out the rest of them. So DEG, so that's this one right here, or we can go back to the expression 5x plus 1 and plug in 10, which it looks like they did that right here. 5 times 10 plus 1, right? 5 times 10 is 50, and 50 plus 1 is 51. And then to get G, what is this one? Okay, they're looking for DEF, right? Because the question's down here. So we plug that in, 7 times 10 plus 4, that would be 74. Okay. And let's see, if measure JKM is 43, so JKM, that's going to be, you know, I'm not going to go down too far. JKM, so that's this one right here. This is 43. And then, excuse me, MKL is this expression, 8x minus 20. Measure of JKL, so that's the whole thing, is 10x minus 11. Find each measure. So again, we're going to set it up using our segment addition postulate. I'm sorry, angle addition postulate. All right, we were working on segments earlier, so excuse me for that. So put our two smaller sides together. Make sure that your biggest one, the biggest angle, so JKL, that's the one that's got to be by itself, all right? So you don't want to be adding a big angle or the big angle to any of the other angles, because then you're going to get something bigger, right? You want to add the two smaller ones to make the bigger one. So that bigger one has to be by itself. All right, combine like terms. Pick a side for the x, which in this case, they minus 8x from both sides, and you get 2x. And again, that's what I would do. I'd like to keep the x positive, just so that way if there's an error, you can easily spot it. If you remember, I think yesterday there was an error, and it was a little bit tougher to spot. And I kind of did that on purpose so that you could see what an error would look like. All right, so anyway, add 11 to both sides. So plus 11, we got to do the addition subtraction. So that's 11 plus 23 is 34. And what number can I times by 2 to get 34? Well, 17. So we know x is equal to 17. And we plug it back into what they're asking for. So MKL, plug it in here, we get 116. JKL, plug it into here, right? Substitute x for 17. And that's where we get the 159 from. So these next two, I'm sorry, the next, I don't remember how many there were. There's a couple of them. The next few of them, we're gonna go ahead and do from the beginning. All right, just make sure I'm working on the time that I have. I wanna stay in the time, especially before second hour. All right, hopefully you got this down because I'm gonna switch soon. And again, don't be afraid to tell me, you know, if you need more time. If you're almost done with something, we can just go back. Okay, we can go back at the end of the session. You know, if you think you can wait till the wait till the end, wait till the wait till the end of the lesson, which most of these are going to be about 40 to 50 minutes. You know, trying to keep it to that level. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the other one. So here we go, number 6. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the next one here. All right, so if DEF is a straight angle and measure of DEG is 23x minus 3 and measure of GEF is 12x plus 8, find each measure. So it looks like we're gonna have to do a little bit more work because, well, we're not given any numbers, right? One of them said it was 43 degrees and the other one said it was like 23 degrees or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but now it looks like we're gonna have to do a little bit more work because we're gonna have to start all the way from the beginning. So we could label this, if it helps out, DEG, so that's this one right here. That's 23, no, I said 23, not 2. 23x minus 3. And here I have GEF is 12x plus 8. And that just helps us organize it. And you could probably tell what's going to happen here because DEF is a straight angle. So we already know that from D through E to F is 180 degrees. Actually, this might be really not that tough. In fact, actually, this might actually be a pretty easy one. So 20, oops, sorry. push the wrong button. 23, oops, almost forgot the x, 23x minus 23. And we're going to add that to this angle here, which I'm just going to call the smaller angle. And unless we know they're the same size, there's always going to be a smaller one and a larger one. So there we go, we set it up. And again, the total or the full angle should be whatever's on this side. So that's the only one that's by itself. Because sometimes I will get students that will just throw them anywhere, you know, especially with something like Pythagorean theorem. All right, so let's go ahead and add our x numbers together. So 23 and 12, that's going to be 5 and 35x. Okay, and then I'm going to add my regular numbers, my constant values. And I'm gonna do this one backwards just because it's going to be a little bit easier. 8 minus 3 would be 5. And that should come out to 180. So there we go. We took care of all the like terms. So there's no parentheses. And we just took care of like terms. Next thing is to pick a side for the variable to go on, which there's only one x and it's already on the left side and it's already positive. So let's just leave that alone, leave it where it is, and go to the next step, which is to take care of the addition subtraction. $175. And I finally found my calculator, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. 175 divided by 35, and that would be 5. X equals 5. And in this case, I probably will divide both sides by 35. And now we have our first part of our puzzle, and that would be 5. X is equal to 5. Now from here, we can start filling in what we also know, which actually we do know something. We know that DEF is 180 degrees. So we can go ahead and fill that in without having to do much more work. And then let's go ahead and get DEG. So we're looking for DEG. So that's going to be, oops, this one here. So 23. And I'm going to replace x with 5. So 23x minus 3. But again, we're going to replace it with 5. And 23 times 5, so that'd be 15 plus 10. And that's going to be 115, sorry. Yeah, 15 plus 100 is what I meant to say. So that would be 115 minus 3. And we should have enough to get our answer here, so that'd be 112. And there's two ways we could do this one here. Now, since we know one of them, we could plug it in like we did with this one here. 12 times 5 plus 8, because again, we're substituting x with 5. And we could evaluate this, but what we could also do is we could also take 180 and just minus 112, and that should be 68. And we could also double check it here, which would be about 60, right? 12 times 5 is 60 plus 8, which is also 68. I guess we're not saving a whole lot of work, but that's just another option that you would have, just another way of doing, doing the work here. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go. All right, let's move on to number 7. We have another angle, so TUW, so it's this one right here. And you don't have to do this, but in my opinion, it does help. And that is, we're gonna label it with 5x plus 3, WUV, that's 10x minus 5. And TUV is this big one here. And we just, well, I don't want to confuse people because if I write it down anywhere, it's going to look like it's one of the angles. So 17x minus 16, find each measure again. So same thing, let's go ahead and put these two together in our angle addition postulate. So there's our first one, and we're going to add the second one, so that's 10x minus 5 equals 17x minus 16. There you go. And again, the big one, TUV, that should be on its own side. Combine our like terms. So I got 5 and 10x for 15x. Combine this one with that one, and that would be -2 because my subtracting number is way bigger than my other one. Well, not way bigger, but just bigger. There you go. So now we took care of our like terms on both sides. There were no parentheses. So let's go ahead and move over to pick a side for the variable. And again, I like to keep the x positive. And again, that helps a lot when you're working with inequalities, which, you know, those are the mouth that wants to eat the bigger number. So 17 minus 15 is 12. I'm sorry, 2. Whew, I was kind of tired yesterday. So I was making a couple mistakes. Same thing today. Except for my reason for not getting enough rest was different for both days. Anyway, add 16 because we got to do the inverse, right? If we're minusing 16, we got to add 16 to both sides. And that's going to be 16 minus 2, which is going to give us 14. And, you know, if it's kind of a simple one like this, if it kind of fits in the times table that most people have in their heads, I usually just go, okay, what number times 2 gives me 14? Well, that's easy. It's 7, right? I mean, if I could ask a 4th grader that question and they'd be like, oh, it's 7. So now it looks like we're going to have to plug it into all of these. Looks like we're going to have to plug it into all of them. So let's start with the first one they want, and that's TUW. TUW. So get TUW from up here. And that the first one we have to plug it into is going to be 17x minus 16. But again, we know x is 7, so I'm going to drop that in there. 17 times 7 is 119 minus 16. And that's going to give us our first one here. So that's going to be, I want to say 103, which it is. And let's go ahead and go to the next one. WUV, so WUV. That's going to be this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So 10x minus 5. And we know x is 7, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. This one should be, looks like it should be an easy one. We just got 70 minus 5 because, you know, 10 times any number is just going to be, you know, sorry, 65. So in this case, we got 65. Now TUV is the whole thing. To find the third one, I could plug it in, which is probably what you would do, which in fact, that wouldn't be that hard. You know that it's 7, so this would be 35 plus 3, all right? But what we could also do is take these numbers too and use the segment addition postulate with the numbers themselves. So 103 minus 65 is going to be 38. Which if I asked you, 35 plus 3 here, you would have gotten the same answer anyway. But, you know, I didn't have to write it down here. So that's another way you could use it as well. And it's been kind of a different day for me. I guess I'll just show you what happened. So this is an educational opportunity, you know, just sometimes I just talk about things, but I don't know if you can see that, but I nearly chopped off my finger yesterday. Just the educational opportunity. If you're working with power tools, you know, power saws, power circular saws and stuff, clamp down your work. All right, don't be an idiot like me and try, you know, because I was cutting a metal bar and I was thinking, you know, I could just hold it and save myself some time. And then just hold it and cut it, and, you know, I'll be done in like a minute is what I was thinking, but no. I wasn't thinking too clearly. I was tired yesterday and I just wanted to hurry up and get done with it. And yeah, that happened. It's not so bad actually. I cut that exact same spot like 10 years ago. So it's not even bleeding. I mean, you can even just see it. It's like, it's open and it's not even bleeding because that part of my finger gets cut so often. Oh boy. Anyway, sorry if I grossed anybody out. I should have done a warning before that. All right, but it was kind of painful, so I wasn't able to get really good sleep last night. All right, so let's see. It looks like we're given word statements for our word statements for our expressions. So ECD, that's this one right here, is 6 less than 5 times. So 6 less than 5 times. So what does that look like? 6 less than 5 times. Now this one's a tricky one. This is the one that will bamboozle most students. Because when they hear the word less than, a couple of different things come to mind. You might get that mouth thingy, but it actually in this case would mean subtraction, which I think most students kind of know that it would mean subtraction instead. But the thing that makes it tricky is actually that it's backwards. It's backwards. So when you see the word 6 less than, it would be read backwards from the way it is written. All right, so just a quick example. You know, if you say my friend is 6 inches less than height from me, you know, they're shorter than you, you would say less than, 6 inches less than. So that means they're like that much shorter than you. All right, I'm not trying to pick on short people or anything, but that's the way you would say it. Or, you know, you would say like, my brother is 3 years less than mine, right? So whatever your age is, it's gonna minus 3 from it. So that's kind of what it looks like here when you write it down. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use X because it says ECD times BCE and BCD. So BCD is 162. So let's see what I can do. I'm gonna put that here, find each measure. BCE. So BCE, we're going to label this X. All right, we're just going to label that X. And this is 5X minus 6. So if I add these together, 5X minus 6 plus X. So that's what it kind of should look like. All right. Ugh. All right, so let's go ahead and start putting this together. Put these two together. So that's going to be 6x minus 6, 162. All right, so what do we got here? 168. And then I'm going to have to divide both sides by 6. All right, so 16 divided by 6, 16 divided by 6 is 12. Yeah, that'd be 12, so that'd be 2. And then 12, that'd be 2, that'd be 28. So 168 divided by 6, so that'd be 18 divided by 6. You know what, let me just use my calculator. 168 divided by 6, and that would be 28. Okay. All right, so actually, in this case here, X is not just some arbitrary degree. It's actually this thing here. This smaller one is really 28. And remember, here it says it's 6 less than 5 times this angle. Now we know that this angle is 28, so now we can plug it into that one. So it's kind of the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing, right? We're still using and substituting X and all that stuff. And that would be 134. So I plugged it into this one here. So that's ECD. So ECD is 134. And BCE, oh, actually we know that one. We know it's 28 now. I could have filled that in before. And both of these should add up to 162, which it looks like it does, right? Because we'd have 8 plus 4, which would be 12. Carry over, that'd be 3 plus 13, so that would be 162. So there you go. We checked it. It works out just fine. All right, and let's see. We got about 10 more minutes. Let's see if we can get through this here. I'm going to go through this maybe a little bit faster than I normally would, but I'm going to try to do this here. All right, so ABF, so that's this big one right here, 6x plus 26. EBF is 2x, and since I can't fit it in there, I'm going to write it near the end. ABE, so ABE is from here to there, and that's going to be our 11x minus 31. Find ABF. ABF. Oh boy, this is actually a tough one. Now I know how to do this. What I would do is I would set all three of them equal to 360 degrees, because if you look at all of those angles, it does make a full circle. It will cover all of those, but I'm trying to think how we could use this with what they gave us. How could we do this with what they have given us? Oh wait, no. ABE. Oh, okay, sorry. I knew this one sounded kind of odd because looking at it here, ABE would actually be these two here. From here to there. It would be the inside, not the outside. Okay, so just a reading error. All right, good. Looks like we got it. So from this one should be the basic problem. Let's get our two smaller angles, 6x plus 26, and add that to the other angle. In this case, I call it the smaller angle. And let's go and put them together. So 6x and 2x, that's going to be 8x. And then 26 minus 9 is going to be 17. Yeah, okay. Just don't want to make a mistake. All right, so bring this down. We didn't do anything with that. All right, now let's go ahead and pick a side for the variable to go on, which I am going to go with adding, well, actually in this case, minusing 8 from both sides. That way I keep it positive so that if anything weird happens, I can spot it a lot much more easily. All right, so 11 minus 8 will give us 3x, and I am going to add 31, because again, we got to do the opposite, what we call the inverse operation. And let's see, 17 plus 31, that'd be 48. Equals 3x. And this one I know right off the top of my head. This one should be an easy one. Should be 16, because I know that 3 times 15 is 45, and 48 is only 3 higher than 45. So that's only 15 plus 1. Okay, so let's see. Now we got to start filling these in. So let's plug it into this one here. So let's just start with, actually it says find ABF. So the only one we need to find is this one here. So we're not looking for all of them. All right, make sure you read the question, because a lot of times you can save yourself a little bit of work by reading the question. All right, because if I didn't read that question again, I probably would have done all 3 of them, which that would waste a lot of time, because we're finding answers for things we don't really need to find. And in this case here, it looks like it's 122. So there we go. It says it wants to give the measure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the answer the way that we should. So the measure of ABF is equal to 122 degrees. There you go. So in this case here, we're labeling what they're asking for, right? So like I was saying, any job you do, you got to label what it is. You know, if you're a pharmacist and you're giving out medicine, you got to label what it is. You know, you don't just hand out things like aspirin with other medications that wouldn't work with it. And you got to label them. You don't want someone taking the wrong one. And again, that's just something every job does. And you looking at these ones here, see, it gives us already what we're looking for. So that's why we didn't do it with these ones here. All right, I'm running low on time, so I'm gonna try to speed run this one. It looks like we're given a whole bunch of stuff actually. It looks like this is not a simple one. So BD, so this one bisects CBE. So we know this is the same as that. So I'm gonna mark them. BC is perpendicular to BA. BC is perpendicular, so this means that this is a right angle. So I'm going to put a little square there, just so that way I can tell later on when I look at the diagram. CBD, that's this one here. This is 3x plus 25, and DBE is 7x minus 19. Oh, so sorry, I thought I heard someone was talking. Find ABD. So we're looking for, I'm gonna put it in purple. We're looking for this angle right here. All right, so let's start with what we know. We know that these two are congruent. That's a good starting point because since they're congruent, they should be equal to each other. Since they are equal, so again, we're not, you know, this is actually what we learned yesterday, and we are going to have to use these kind of over again. So it's just because it's not in this lesson doesn't mean it's over with or anything, right? We're going to be, actually a lot of these we're going to be using throughout the rest of the course. And I'm just using my basic algebra. So hopefully you're, you know, really up to date with your actual algebra. So again, I'm kind of doing this when I'm running out of time. So now at least I know X is 11. And I think in this case, it might be easier to do this one here. So I'm gonna do that one because again, I'm looking for this large angle here that I marked in purple. 3x, so 311 plus 25, so that'd be 33 plus 25, be 8, so that'd be 58. And I'm gonna double check that really quick. Yep, and now I know this is 58 degrees, right? So I know this is 58. And this is 90. So I'm just going to add those two together, 58 plus 90, and that would be 148. So even though this one didn't, well, it looked like it was pretty difficult at first, it wasn't actually that tough. So now we just got to label it M, which means measure of angle ABD is equal to 148. And we got about 3 more minutes. Again, if you have not given me your email address, okay, you put it in the chat. Okay, don't say it. I'm gonna go ahead and, well, we're gonna be doing a little bit more stuff. We have a little bit more time.